سلام على قبر يزار من البعد، من زار في الليل ربه فبلغه المرغوب كل مقصده. سلام على من قال في الضب من أنا، فقال رسول الله أنت محمد.
وصلنا نحن. السلام عليكم على الكلينيك تبع دكتور بثينة، دكتورة بثينة عفوا، وإن شاء الله هلأ بدنا نشوفها ونسألها الأسئلة.
إيه إن شاء الله.
السلام عليكم.
مشاكل كبيرة جدا لأن الضغط موجود، والآن تغير العالم. يعني كثير من علمائنا الآن هم يعيشون في الماضي تماما، يعيشون في الماضي أنهم لا يرون. وكثير منهم يعني قد يكون، وهذا قد يكون صحيح، النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال في آخر الزمان كن حلسا من أحلاس بيتك، أن الإنسان يلتزم بيته. يعني قرن في بيوتكن في النساء، ولكن في الرجال كذلك في آخر الزمان، أنه الخروج من البيت أصبح يتعرض الإنسان للفتن والمشاكل. فكثير منهم خلاص يعني كأنهم يتكلمون عن شيء لا يوجد، لا يشاهد. فأما كيف نواكب هذا العصر بمعرفة صحيحة وبأصالة، يعني ماذا نأخذ من ماضينا حتى تكون آلة لنا في مستقبلنا، ولكن لا بد من المنخلة، يعني حتى نغربل ما نواجهه في هذا العصر ونأخذ المفيد ونرمي غير مفيد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. اليوم الحمد لله نحن نتقابل مع دكتورة بثينة الشنار، وأنت ما شاء الله أصلك من أظن من هنا من الإمارات العربية المتحدة، وأنت درستي في لاحظت من الشهادات ما شاء الله من أرقى الجامعات في أمريكا، وأظن أن هي الأولى بالنسبة للطب جونز هوبكنز. فنحن عندنا الرحلة حول النساء في العالم الإسلامي، فمن الأشياء التي يقلقني أنا الاهتمام بالظواهر، أن اهتمامها فقط بظواهر وبمفهوم الجمال الظاهري، أن كيف الناس ينظرون إلي. والإسلام كأنه أشار إلى أن المرأة أكثر من ذلك بكثير، وهي إنما النساء شقائق الرجال. وأنت بكونك مجملة طبيبة في التجميل، أردنا نتكلم معك في قضية الجمال والمرأة العربية والمسلمة، وكذلك المرأة في العالم الإسلامي ككل. ما رأيك يعني حول الجمال ومفهوم الجمال؟
جراحة التجميل ما هي بس يعني فقط جراحة تجميل، مهم. فهي جراحة تجميل وترميم. نعم. فمن ضمن جراحة الترميم الحوادث، يعني جراحة الحوادث congenital abnormalities كمان، يعني نعم.
بالوراثة. نعم.
بالضبط، المشاكل في الوراثي.
You know, for me, if people feel inadequate, do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter. A woman can be stunningly beautiful by all the معايير المجتمع، يعني تكون من أروع النساء في الجمال، مع ذلك هي حينما تنظر في المرأة ترى نفسها قبيحة. يعني this happens a lot. Women literally, people will think that they're beautiful, but they see themselves in the mirror. And another woman can be by the معايير المجتمع maybe not that pleasant looking, but she's perfectly content with herself. So I mean, there seems to be a real problem in self-esteem issues with women globally, not just.
Well, I'll start out by saying it's not just women. I think it's women and men, especially more recently, and that's why I define beauty as peace of mind. And I think that's where the insecurities lie. If you have a woman who's, you're right, absolutely stunning, but inside she doesn't feel attractive, that's not peace of mind, and it shows, it comes across.
But what I was going to say, in addition, هحاول أدير للعربي شوية. اللي كنت بقوله موضوع الثقة، يعني هو هذا، يعني عجبني تعريفك للجمال. بس زي ما تفضل الشيخ حمزة، أنا أوافق يعني من ناحية إنه إيش، حتى إحنا أمس كنا مع الأخت معالي الوزيرة لبنى القاسمي ونتكلم إنه الثقة مهمة بالنسبة للمرأة كي تنجح. فأنا أشوف إنه إذا ركزنا إنه الثقة تأتي من الخارج، يعني تجيكي واحدة مي واثقة من نفسها تبغى هذا تبغى هذا، أوكي سويته ورجعت برضها مي واثقة من نفسها، ما عالجنا الجوهر في نظري. فهذه هي النقطة اللي أنا.
Well, I mean, for instance, I've seen all over in Dubai, I've seen in just passing by these pharmacies, creams to make the skin whiter. Right? I mean, that's a problem for me. Just the fact that that is being manufactured is a problem. But also the fact that people somehow feel that their skin needs to be whiter. You know, that somehow, and that has a lot to do, obviously, with racism and with, but I don't know, I mean, I have light skin, but if I was an Arab or an Indian or something like that, nobody on God's earth is going to get me to want whiter skin.
Sometimes I do get situations where, you know, like let's say a woman comes to the clinic and she's like, you know, all nervous and stressed out, and she's like, you know, I want you to do anything you want to my face, for example. And I was like,
she trusts you.
No, it was the first time I've ever met this person, for example, and then you start questioning, and something doesn't seem quite right, and you find out, well, her husband just left her for a younger woman, for example. So that's the kind of thing that you have to be able to pick up in your consultation, and that's the kind of person you say, listen, this is not a good time. You need to, you know, look into yourself, get over the situation, and then later, if you want certain things that you want to improve, that's a different story. So that's a very good question.
And,
you know?
And there, I think we're getting right to that example, to the root of the problem, is that I don't want to say we created, because much of it we've inherited, a society that has such distorted ma'ayir. You know, the criteria by which we use to judge things and to understand things is so grossly distorted. Do you know, pleasure, hedonism. I mean, I saw a billboard yesterday that said, you know, come to our city, and then it was huge. It was a mural that went on for quite some time. It showed a group of people talking, and it said socialize. And then the next one, it had in the eating at a restaurant, dine. And then the next one, it was at the beach, play. And then the next one was at the mall, shop. And that was it. And I was looking at that and thinking,
that looks superficial.
You know, is that the modern world? Is it just shop until you drop? Is it consume until you die? Is it, I mean, are these, you know, where's charity? Where's social services? Where's volunteerism? I mean, why are we as human beings allowing our culture to kind of disintegrate into this hedonistic, superficial, it's all about how I look, it's not about what's inside of me. I mean, to me, these are really egregious problems. But Al-Jahid is a good example of that. Are you familiar with him? The Arab, he was an adib, you know, he was a scholar. Al-Jahid was incredibly ugly. And he actually, very self-effacing.
Now we know him. Now we know him.
He had bulging eyes. He once, he was in the souq, وفي امرأة جرته إلى صياغ يصنع المجوهرات فقال مثله ثم انصرفت فالجاحظ سأل الصياغ قال يعني إيش فيها قال سبحان الله هي قالت لي أنا أريد أن تنقش لي خاتما فيه وجه الشيطان فأنا قلت أنا ما نعرف وجه الشيطان فهي أتت بك وقال مثلك.
استغفر الله حرام.
هو كان عنده يعني فكاهة بالنسبة لهذا الشيء لأن ثقته بنفسه كانت عظيمة. يعني he didn't have any complex.
Right, he was so confident about himself.
He was so because he was brilliant. And his brilliance enabled him to shine in the society.
المجتمع هنا في دبي يعني احنا كثير ما نعرف الفرق طبعا بين التجميل وبين زي ما قلتي في ترميم. هذه اول مره اسمع دي الكلمه. بس ايش تقولي للناس؟ reconstruction. ايوه. ايش تقولي للناس اللي يعتبروا عملك حرام؟ يعني بيقولوا لك هذا كله حرام، واحنا نسمع هذا الكلام كثير، واكيد الشيخ حمزه حيضيف، بس ايش تعتبري؟ ايش تردي عليهم؟
يعني at the end of the day يعني الله بيحب الجمال, you know, and that's my response to that is that God loves beauty. I think haram's a very kind of a touchy subject, you know, so I don't really want to say too much on TV, you know, and I'm sure you know you've looked into that a lot. بس يعني الله بيحب الجمال. والله خلقنا في أحسن تقويم, you know, in terms of that. بس أحيانا you know في مشاكل مثل الحوادث وهيك أشياء
لا هذا واجب.
You know,
هذا واجب. بس الثاني أنا سؤالي في الثاني
إذا أمكن يعني أنه إذا واحد شوه مثلا
أيوة.
في حادثة أو شيء هذا من أعظم ما تقدم من الخدمة يعني بالضبط. صراحة
بالضبط.
لأنه
وهذه الترميم. This is the
كذلك في الحروب يعني عندنا أعوذ بالله في
الحروق وكمان
أيوة الحروق. نعم I worked in a burn unit. I mean that's one of the most traumatic events that can happen.
And it could be life-changing to make minor changes.
Absolutely.
I mean that's I mean something. I'll give you another example. Even in terms of تفضل. Sorry.
لا تفضلي.
Example.
Yeah.
My example. Okay. You know, even in terms of womanhood or femininity, you know, I'll give you an example of, let's say, breast cancer, of a woman who loses her breast for breast cancer. Now, is that considered vain to create another breast? And for me, it's like, well, no. I mean, that's just
يعني مثلى بالجسد.
Exactly.
And if somebody's, I mean, one of the amazing things is that كما تفضلتي يعني في أحسن تقويم. You know, في أحسن تقويم, the balance, the perfect. I mean, beauty is all about symmetry.
It's about symmetry.
And symmetry is one of the greatest signs of God in creation. You know, is this insijam al-khalq. It's something extraordinary. In fact, I saw a study that I thought was really brilliant. They did a study on beautiful faces from men and women, and they literally put in front of people thousands of faces, and they had them pick out which ones they thought were the best faces. And what they found was the most beautiful faces were the most average faces.
Mm-hmm. But the most symmetric.
They were symmetric,
but
they were the most average. They were the average nose, the average eyes, the average mouth, the average structure, you know, in that bell curve.
Right.
They were the ones that were all right in the middle, which خير الأمور أوسطها, يعني like the Prophet ﷺ said, which I thought was really interesting. But for me, for instance, I love big noses.
Thank you.
You know, I mean, I really like big noses. I don't have a big nose. Maybe if I had one, I would have a different attitude. But I like big nose. I'm amazed at people that want to shrink their noses down. I'm amazed at black people that want to look like white people. I'm amazed at white people that are racist and yet go out and get a tan in order to look darker.
But doesn't that highlight just the one thing about human nature? You always want what you don't have.
Well,
I mean, that is like so basic.
This is why,
you know?
thank you. And this is why al-qana'atu kanzun la yafna. How do we achieve qana'a?
It's a combination. A lot of times, like I remember you had mentioned earlier that, you know, women should look deeper into themselves and women should not focus so much on their appearance. And also my answer to that, I mean, maybe because I'm a woman, is maybe men should stop looking at women differently. You know, they should appreciate their wives.
That's not going to change, though. I mean, I really think women need to be freed of that idolatry of the other. You know, I think a woman has to do that herself.
But you know, women themselves like to be, to be beautiful. I mean, when I was like 4 years old,
even men like to be beautiful.
Oh yeah, why did you brush your hair today? Well, did you brush your hair today?
I didn't, and I don't use a comb.
Just kidding.
I never use a brush or a comb. I just literally go like that.
Okay, that was not a good example.
Yeah.
Can you cut that, please?
I brush my teeth because, you know, I want good dental hygiene. And
I think human nature has so many different aspects of their personalities. It's when someone loses perspective, that's when I see a problem. I see a problem in someone who feels they're nothing unless they look beautiful. That's a problem.
I really feel so much of this is just about balance. And I think that in more traditional societies, there was so much less emphasis on these aspects that the modern society is obsessed with. And I want to see, especially the young Arab girls and Muslim girls, I would like to see them just exploring so many other avenues of their lives that are much richer to me.
You wish that on everybody. I mean, that's something that, you know, because you're so insightful and you've read a lot about, you know, science and religion, and you've seen life, you have a very different view on life, and I think it's very refreshing. I think that, you know, again, you're in a very sheltered environment, and there is only one focus. And society here, I mean, the westernization, the speed of the westernization,
it's a real problem.
In this society, it's almost scary.
It is scary.
Because you're, and I wonder if it's going to end up being something like this and finally coming to some balance.
I believe the, you know, there's an extraordinary hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. He said that he said a woman was created from the rib, and he said that to me the real meaning of that hadith, it's often used as a negative, do you know? Mm-hmm. But to me the rib is there to protect the most vital organs of the human being, and particularly the heart. I mean, the rib cage is there to protect the heart, and the curvature of the rib. He talked about the i'wijaj of a woman. For me, it's that curvature that's designed to protect something. The woman really is there to protect the heart of society. You know, because I truly believe, and I'm not just saying this, I really believe that our humanity comes from our mothers. We don't get our humanity from our fathers. And if they're humane, they got it from their mothers.
Can you say that again, please? I'm just kidding. I was just saying, can you say that again for the for the record?
Emphasize it.
Can you emphasize it for the record?
You know, I believe that. I mean, I believe that. I mean, I know my humanity came from my mother, because my mother's an incredibly humane person. And she, shafaqa, you know, there's a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ that God said, you know, hadith Qudsi, إني شققت الرحم من اسمي الرحمن, you know, that I derive the womb from, and that is what is unique about women. It's the womb. It's that hollow center of her being that is where this divine mercy comes into the world. Do you know? And when the Prophet ﷺ wanted to use an example of mercy, he used the example of a woman who was milking her child. And the Prophet ﷺ said, do you think this woman would throw her child into the fire? And they said, no, she would never do that. And he said, God is more merciful with his servants. So the example that he used for divine mercy was motherly mercy and compassion. And I really feel that women, you know, when they're divorced from, what's happened in the West is that women have often been forced to become like men in order to compete in this male-dominated world. And what I would like to see is that women, instead of seeing these as handicaps, as actually seeing these things as the essential elements. And you know what I've noted, though? The most beautiful faces I've ever seen in the world are faces of people who've spent a lifetime in real serious worship. And I'm not just...
Inner peace. It's because they're happy with what they're doing.
Men and women. I've actually felt shy looking at some old women just because they were so beautiful from their worship. From
their eyes and from their...
And just the whole, you know, somebody once said that the beauty of the young is their youth, but the beauty of the aged is in their souls.
Their wisdom.
And al-jamalu bil-lugha al-arabiyya, al-jamalu fil-anf, you know, wal-husnu fil-ayn. The Arabs they apply certain, but al-jamalu fil-anf, they really think that the nose is where
the beauty lies.
Where the beauty
it gives
lies.
Character.
And they, you know, ala khashmi.
Like of course, okay, I get it.
يا فلا أنا. إيه والله. طب والحسن في العين يعني.
الحسن في العين.
يعني.
In other words, if you use that word and you refer to beauty, the beauty of the husna is in the al-ayn, it's in the eye. Wal-jamalu fil-anf. But that idea of you know, the jumla, the gatheredness of it. The beauty is something that is more than just one area. It's really a total.
It's very interesting that you say that. I went to tangent that a little bit. I went to a conference once, and it's a conference about noses. It was a conference. It was a rhinoplasty, which is basically every surgeon was just talking. It was like a 2-day thing, and it was like one nose after another. And every picture. Now these are very, very famous plastic surgeons and everything. But every picture I saw, and I wouldn't globalize. I wouldn't say every picture that I saw, but the noses after looked beautiful. But somehow the faces look better before.
Really?
So that's a very interesting point. Now that doesn't mean to say that you don't do any noses, because some of them, but I think that's where putting things in perspective. Just because you have the perfect
really
nose, it doesn't necessarily. And exactly.
You know, God knows what He puts on people's faces.
No, but having said that statement, I will also say that you can change a lot and make someone look better, but they don't have to have the perfect nose to necessarily look. Correct. There is no perfect nose. I don't believe
that. There's no perfect.
Although your nose is pretty perfect.
There's no perfect nose, and in the end, al-kamalu lillah. Perfection is God's, and we're always going to be imperfect. And people, one of the things about human beings, and Imam al-Ghazali said that, he said, أكبر دليل على نقص الإنسان is that he يحس بنقصه. You know, that he's always feels deficient.
Very true.
You know, in whatever he does, or however he looks, or however he, and wallahi, it's been very interesting, and نتمنى لك مزيد التوفيق في أعمالك. And I hope, you know, that that the work you do is, you know, has tawfiq.
Inshallah.
Barakallah fiki wa shukran jazeelan. So where's the ski place? At the end.
You need a locker for
Do we need a locker? Yeah.
Or you want the big go with shake this one?
Yeah, that's fine. Well, yeah, that's okay.
I just step on that.
It's cold though. I mean, you feel like Switzerland.
With the camera. Just spent 5 minutes cleaning up the camera. He had a protective lens on. I didn't, you know, I tried the first time to raise snow and none came up. So the second time I thought none's gonna come up, it just like shot all over him. And then he said it wasn't that bad, but I wish I would have had my eyes closed. His whole face was snow.